This is Brian from Out of Service, and you're listening to Burdenpod. Burdenpod is a 4-part conversation with the members of Out of Service about the making of and the meaning behind the band's latest album, Burden. Listen to Burden wherever you stream your music. And please check out our sponsors, Revolution Barber Co. in Somerdale, New Jersey, and Construction on Time Remodeling in the South Jersey and Philadelphia area.
So what was the biggest difference between recording Burden and recording, what was the name of our last album? Morning for you guys.
Oh my God, I was thinking that you forgot the name of the title.
Mike, how about you?
Because usually before this, we pretty much like Teebs just wrote music on his guitar, sent it to me, I made a melody, and then everybody just kind of made their own parts separately. But this time we tried to make it a point to get together to actually write these songs together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like that writing process was super different than last time.
Oh yes, yeah.
And we definitely like sat with these songs a lot longer and like made changes throughout the entire process before we laid it down.
Yeah, I mean, when our first writing session was September last year, right?
Right.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, so it was almost a year from start to finish.
Yeah.
Whereas the last one, it was like condensed in like 3 months, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit longer than that, but yeah.
It was quick.
I think for me, one huge difference was like actually being in studios.
Yeah, that's.
Speak for yourself.
Well, Brian's the only one.
I'm the only one. I did the exact same thing I did last time. I mean, I didn't even have this yet, so I was still working on the old equipment.
Yeah, it was all the.
And it still came out good. I knew more of what I was doing, and my parts were written before I started recording.
That's the difference.
That was
which is a big difference.
Big help for
Um,
all of us.
I mean, I still made a lot of changes while I was doing my parts, but at least I wasn't trying to write and record on the same day.
Would you say that's the biggest difference this time for you?
Yeah, and I think it shows in the bass parts too. I think the bass parts, first of all, they're way more out front in this record, which has nothing to do with how I recorded them and everything to do with how they were mixed. But they deserve to be more out front than in the last record. Yeah. I think the parts are more thought out. There's more space, and just they're more interesting in general than they were on the last one.
Yeah. I think that like for me the studio piece was huge because there was like no pressure when we recorded at home.
Yeah.
We were just hanging out in my basement. It just felt like so much like less high stakes. It sounds so much more amazing, and it was great working with Sean at SRG. But
It went by really smoothly.
Yeah, it went great, but it was just so different for me in terms of like the stakes of just feeling kind of like that nervous, those jitters that you get before you like play a big show or whatever, go on stage.
Brings that back.
Yeah. So I think that was the biggest difference for me in terms of the actual recording process.
For me, it was definitely using live amps. Whereas last time I did everything direct, or mostly everything.
Straight into the computer. Explain that for people if they don't know.
So you plug right into an interface, and you record the signal, and then Nathan would take my signal and run it through amps at his studio.
Like simulated amps.
Simulated amps at his studio. So for this album, I went and bought the Bassman, which is a
Fender Bassman.
Fender amp, yeah. Fender sponsor us. But but yeah, it was a big difference, and we just cranked that thing for like 10 straight hours, right, Mike? We just had it like completely super loud. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And then you bought the Vox.
Well, I used the Vox at the studio at what's the name of his?
Dylan.
Dylan. But what's
Midley
the name?
Grange.
Midley Grange, yeah, Midley Grange Studio. I used his Vox, and then I bought one because I liked how it sounded so much. So
Yeah.
that was different.
Yeah. Cool. So why don't we transition into talking about the first song on the album?
Okay.
Not everybody at once.
The first song is Threshold. It had the working title of Emo 5. It's funny, in the past, all of our emo songs were these
Quote-unquote emo.
Quote-unquote emo. They're more like fake emo, like pop punk, third wave or whatever. But this one actually sort of sounds like almost like a 90s emo throwback. Like a Clarity era Jimmy Eat World or something like that.
Or even more like a Death Cab.
Or like
Sometimes
Death
I
Cab
think of
indie,
when
yeah.
Yeah, it was funny when we were writing this one. I remember we were practicing in my grandmom's basement, thanks meme, and wasn't it a lot more complicated with like a ton of parts?
Well, no, it was the Hawthorne Heights riff.
Oh,
It
right.
sounded
Right.
But we changed that
We
quick.
changed
So,
that note. Yeah,
Brian-
we changed that one note, and it
Yeah,
didn't sound like
yeah.
Hawthorne Heights anymore.
So Brian was like, guys, this has got to change.
well, it was like it was corny.
It was a
wasn't
total
good.
rip.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't good. And he like said, what if we slow it down, change the riff to like a couple notes here and there, and it just came together really well.
And it was against all of our instincts, I think, when we normally write.
Yes.
Oh my god! Because
Throw
usually it's like
so much
it's
up
usually
against the
we'll
wall.
speed it up.
Yeah, and we also just have a lot of different parts, a lot of like counter rhythms and all. You know what I mean? Like we'll mix and match time signatures. We didn't do any of that in this song.
And if you listen carefully enough, you can hear horns.
Yeah, so this song was supposed to be the stripped down with barely any parts to it, and that was the kind of the whole idea behind this song. It was just raw, and it was just there was nothing to it other than that guitar part, that bass part, and that same drum beat throughout most of the song. And then Teebs and I got together and we said, they're gonna hate this. Let's do it. And then we added the sax, we added the synth. And it's all there for color, but it actually ended up making it sound like a much more complete song when it was done. Those
richer.
horns come in, and
Tenor
you're not
sax.
quite sure what they are when you hear them at first, but then
If you listen
miss
right
it,
at
they
the
were
end,
gone.
right at the end of the verse,
Yeah.
before you go into the chorus, you can kind of hear
Hear,
the
like,
decay
the-
of the
the
horn.
decay of the horn, yeah.
And I remember I was like, "Is that the guitar?" Like, because I didn't know
He
that
didn't know
they
about the
didn't
horns.
know
We were like, yeah,
we
don't-
didn't have to tell him.
We
or
said,
else
don't
he-
tell Kenny until after we get the mixes back.
And I was like, oh, that's. And I think I was listening to the new Bon Iver album, and I heard the sax on there, and I was like, wait, that's a sax on our song.
Yeah, it's a tenor sax, an alto sax, and a soprano sax, and it's a 3-part harmony where but it's remember we left it like super open sounding, like we didn't, so the notes are really far apart, so it doesn't sound like anything's close together.
Yeah.
So I think it works because it doesn't like get in the way at all.
Right.
It kind of just blends.
Right,
with
and it's
one.
only in the verses.
It's only in
Yeah.
the verses, yeah. So
And we really fought hard to make this like a vocal song. You know what I mean? To not push too hard
Yeah,
on
when-
any of the instruments.
When we did the remix, we decided to focus on bringing up the harmonies because they got lost in the final mix, and we missed them when they were gone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's for another episode where we talk about how we remixed the entire
Yeah.
album
yeah, well,
and
that'll be an
remastered
opening.
it.
That'll be a good little opening.
Yeah.
I still can't believe we actually did that.
Wake to the scene of an ordinary day until a siren chants his tepid song, warning us to get away. So I run to the front, out the window I can see a torrent swallows everyone I love, everything and even me. The waters pull, oh so cold, it expels all of my breath. Panic wraps his hands around my throat, sinks his claws into my chest. Blaze, oh God, blaze. I don't know if you can see, but if I try to hold on anymore, there'll be nothing left of me. Nothing left of me. And do you think that I could find a little peace of quiet in these unforgiving times? I'm such a mess, I can't do this on my own. You can trust me all alone, I can make it out alone. I know all the things I never had the guts to say. Spent a lifetime trapped inside my head, all my words are swept away. A frozen hand takes my wrist, tries to keep the end at bay. If I begged you to release me, would you let me go? Just let me go.
right, so next song.
Sleep.
Sleep.
And this was originally called working title Post Op.
Post Op.
But actually I had a working title before that.
Me Without You.
Me Without You song in that was the voice memo in my phone for that little riff.
I think that was my phone, wasn't it?
Oh, it was your phone.
It was my phone. So we wrote this song.
I think the first song we wrote.
This was the first song we wrote technically on this album. We wrote that we had just a voice memo from when we were writing Morning with this song, and I think it didn't fit.
It was after Morning.
Oh, it was after Morning?
So what it was...
It was before Morning came out,
we
though,
did
right?
like a
What was
writing...
that?
It was like a practice, and we were
Okay.
like, let's spend an hour writing.
Right.
And Brian hated it. You hated that song.
Did I remember that?
You were so mad because it
remember
just
hating
it wasn't our mix in the basement wasn't great, and it's loud, and you hated it. It was in drop D, and you're just like, it's boring.
It was boring. It changed. No,
a
it
lot.
changed a lot. I mean, if you were to listen to that phone demo, and then you were to listen to what the final song sounds like, not even considering the
hates it.
difference in quality, they're not even the same song. Okay, it's not even remotely close, except for the chorus chords. That's the only thing that
the
stayed
verse
the
is the
same.
same.
The verse is the same.
Yeah, the
it's the same
one
riff.
the what is it? C minor riff that from
D minor.
And I do the snare drum on that one, too.
from Brother Sister.
Brother Sister. Yeah.
That's the song that.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's what it does. It's
what it
not the
sounds like?
same riff, but
But
that's what it
reminds
reminds
you
me
of?
of.
Okay.
I mean
kind
that
of want to listen to it.
that song
Yeah.
sounds.
Deal.
That song could have been. I mean, if you took out the vocals, that song could have been on.
Could we
Brother
get
Sister.
Could we should put the old one in?
Yeah, I wanna find
right
the
now
old
for
one.
our listeners.
Yeah,
I'm sure you have
I
it
can.
somewhere.
One of us has it on.
Here, why don't we
100%.
play it right now?
Get that much at least?
All right, ready? Go ahead.
All right, so there you heard that. That was our original demo. All right. Yeah. Anything about this song in particular that stands out to me? A lot of the second verse, a lot of the rhythm guitars got like completely taken out, which was cool.
Yeah.
It created a lot of space.
Second verse became kind of a bass feature,
It's
essentially.
more of a bass feature, yeah, which I liked a lot.
And in when we originally wrote the song, we expected these big heavy verses because there's that snare, all in the background the entire time. But we expected it to be out front.
Can I hear that again, Brian?
But when Nathan mixed it, he put it way down, and we were all kind of shocked at first, and we didn't love it.
Yeah.
And we wanted it to come up, but then we came around to the dynamics of it. The final version is definitely a compromise between
It's
the
like
two
between
ideas,
two.
but
Between
it
the
changed what our concept of the song was.
Hashtag in Nathan Hussey we trust.
Yeah, right.
Shout out to Nathan for all the work he did on this. But
he's the man. Mike,
Yeah.
can you explain the castles in the sky? Because I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, oh, that's a little cheesy.
Yeah.
But then once you explained it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so profound. We need to keep that line.
Well, Castle in the Sky is basically an analogy for like dreaming or like an ideal dream, like an escape. Mm-hmm. So basically, the whole song's centered around just wanting to sleep and stay in your dreams all the time. So, when I say like I'm running back to my castle in the sky, it's like I'm just gonna go back to sleep and just like live my life in my dreams.
Yeah.
fitting title for it then.
Yeah, definitely. I thought that was so cool.
Sleep.
Because I remember imagining like sand castles the first
No,
time.
I mean I get
And I was like, no, but like,
Yeah.
but I was like, I don't get it. And then once you explained it, it was like it clicked. And I
Yeah.
was like, that's amazing.
A sandcastle.
I don't know why. I know
So-
it's stupid.
So my favorite part of this song is probably the bridge.
Oh, the build into it.
But yeah, the build in that bridge is awesome. But I just love the lyrics and and the new mix. So as we mentioned, we remixed the entire record.
can hear the harmonies
Your
come in.
But your voice is way louder there too.
Yeah,
it's
it
like
is.
he put it way up front,
Yeah.
and to me that makes the song. And
Yeah.
I was a little bummed on the other version when you were far back there.
Yeah.
Like it was more of an effect, where now it's
Yeah.
right in front.
I
of you.
think that song, and we're going to talk about this again in another episode,
Yeah.
but I think that song of all of them came the farthest when we remixed.
From the first mix.
From the
From
yeah,
that first
yeah.
mix, yeah.
Because I was like, I remember like on the last album we talked about Two Anchors and how that song, like, we never felt like it came to fruition.
Yeah.
I remember listening to the first mix of this album and thinking like, oh, this is going to be my two anchors for this album. And I'm really glad that we revisited it because it isn't anymore. You know, I love where it ended up. So yeah.
I've resigned myself to sleep. Moments of my life mixing with my dreams. The pain and the panic dissipate. Never under pressure to forge another smile for the masses all to see. They won't really get what they wanted, and now I'll never get back. I'm running back to my castle in the sky, where nobody will ask me why. Oh, don't ask me why. I stay in this delusion, but my decisions can't be undone, like a martyr by the pride. I might never come back. I'm running back to my castle in the sky. I'm living out the lie, where nobody will ask me. Eyes closed shut, trying desperately to fight. I know I'm passing time, just trying to lay down and die. This is all I've been granted. I could stay here forever. Time to strap in and make a choice. This is all I've been granted. I could stay here forever. Time to strap in and make a choice. This is all I've been granted. I could stay here forever. Time to strap in and make a choice. This is all I've been granted. I can stay here forever. Time to strap in and make a choice. I'm running back to my castle in the sky, where nobody will ask me. Running back to my castle in the sky, where nobody will ask me why. No, don't ask me why. I'm here laying down to die.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So
That was great.
next up is
Ash.
Ash.
The working title for this one was
6/8. Very creative. We do that a lot. Name our songs after time signatures.
And for non-musicians, yeah, that's a time signature.
signature, yeah.
So
Which for non-musicians, the time signature is.
so you're counting the eighth note, which for non-musicians would be like the one and
let's
two.
not
and
Let's not
okay,
go
yeah,
into
the two
this.
Anyway,
there.
so
Instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, you say 1, 2, 3,
All right,
4,
we're-
5,
people,
6.
People are turning us off now. We're getting canceled.
yeah, maybe we cut that part.
Nah, we'll leave it.
Nope,
Whatever.
not cutting
Alright.
anything.
So I think the biggest surprise to me was the intro of the song originally was all of the instruments playing the whole time, and it was just like a little bit boring for me.
Yeah.
It was
And
too long.
It was too
long
long,
intro.
and we were just like trying to think of what we could do. So after we actually recorded the whole thing instrumentally, I think you guys were talking to Nathan right down in.
Yeah,
We were
he
talking
did
about
that.
cutting the like an entire time through the intro and just starting with the snare drum.
No,
Right.
starting with the the acoustic.
No, he did that.
No, he added.
So
yeah, he
originally
added
we
that.
were just going to start with a.
That's right, because we did that.
And
We
then
did
he
an
goes,
experiment
"What about
with
this?"
that.
And then he had just the acoustic guitar,
acoustic, and it was just so cool.
It sounded awesome, and we were just
Yeah.
like, "Yep, that's it."
So that was, I think, the biggest.
It saved the song.
I think, yeah. I think like this went from being like one of like the songs that I was like happy to have on there, but like, you know, like whatever, you know, to like, wow, this could be a single.
Right.
It went
Because
from
of
being
that.
a bad imitation of Silverstein.
No,
It wasn't
to
bad
being-
imitation,
it was
and you're
good.
only
And
saying
then
it's
we wrote it.
you're only saying Silverstein because it's in 6/8.
No, I wrote it to sound like Silverstein, but we
Yeah, but
sped
again,
it up
again,
and
it
we
was
changed.
super slow the first time when you wrote it. When you
Yeah.
wrote the
Yeah, it
riff.
was super slow. It was very different.
Another
do
one
you think
that
the
we
song
changed.
the most of all
Yes.
of them?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it
think
was one of
so.
those like.
I don't know.
No.
man.
Oh
Yeah.
no. Well, I guess
Stitches.
we'll get to that one later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
never
get
mind.
to
We have a
So-
song called
Okay.
No, yeah.
So of all the songs, this was one of the most changed.
One of the most
not
changed,
not
for
quite
sure.
there. But the other thing that I love about this song is I love how, you know, we went into this album saying like we really want to lean more on the bass and the drums for like the dirt and the like the edge to our songs and have like cleaner guitars, but we still want like an edginess to our songs, and I think this song exemplifies that more than any other on the album. You know, it's all like acoustic guitars and a lot of like cleaner electric guitars, but it still sounds like really heavy. And
But those choruses rip.
The chorus
no,
is pop.
they do.
They rip.
They do.
I mean, they
do.
yeah.
They do.
But it's still like we're leaning pretty heavily on the acoustic even still.
The big change too is like we always thought about big guitars as distortion.
Yeah.
Like let's just like use more like distorted tones at preamp, and we got more of like a breakup, like a dirty sound from the guitars than more of like OD1.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it wasn't that like just like completely. I don't know, what do you call it?
That full overdrive.
Yeah,
sound.
that Marshall half stack sound.
Yeah.
We don't have any of that on this record.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
tried
we
to,
don't.
but I just think that the song exemplifies that kind of movement for us.
And
Yeah.
this song has the cool bridge with the stone is laid upon me line, and has a really cool. You'll hear it when we
You have
play.
to play-
There's a really cool harmony on that part that just it makes you want to like stand up and you know just throw your arms in the air. It's like it's a great moment on the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Mike, do you want to talk about kind of how we wrote that, or?
Oh, that those harmonies.
Yeah, and
we if anybody doesn't know, when we did the vocals, we actually went down to Alabama to Nathan Hussey's place to do all the vocals locally with him on location, and we recorded all the main vocals, and then we went to the harmonies. And Nathan just had we just went with the flow. Like he gave us tons of input, gave us tons of ideas. He's just like, just try this, try that, try this, try that. And I was just like, all right, let's do it. And pretty much we kept almost every single thing that he suggested. Yeah. And at one point for the bridge of this song, he tried this melody, and it just sounded like some kind of what would you call it?
Gospel-y?
Like a gospel choir.
Yeah.
So
It's a soulful
harmony,
part.
and it the first time we heard it, I was just like, I love it so much. It's like, well, we have to keep it.
Yeah, and you can hear it pretty well, so that's cool.
Yeah.
And we did it in 2 octaves too.
Yep, it's all there. You can hear it all too. It's very clear in the new mix.
So thanks for geeking out with us over these 3 songs. We're super excited, and let's listen now to
Ash.
That I've been all I can be. I've experienced aplenty, trepidation and routine. Was it worthless? Was it seen? Was it fear that made me weak? Was it hubris? Was it doubt? I can't stand to figure out. So it seems I was never
Thank you for listening to part 1 of Burdenpod. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast so you can hear the entire series, and follow Out of Service on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Spotify to make sure you never miss an update.